the cloud. Okay, perfect. And Lisa, and we've met before, and you're back in the Library Learning Commons. Yay. And you are a novice with this platform. Okay, so we won't go as quickly. We will share ideas, but we'll try not to get too excited and share too much. If at any point you are feeling overwhelmed, you need to say, hold on there, friends. You need to just, okay. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, that's how I know you. Yay, thank you so much for being here. All right, so I am Jennifer Casa-Todd. If our paths have not crossed before, I'm not sure Nate Jameson if ours has. I blog at jcasatodd.com. There's my email if you ever need me. I host an asynchronous course called Empower Digital Leaders. I am the co-founder of the Global Education Student Chat, which is a Twitter chat for students by students. And we're so excited about our lineup that begins October 26th with digital citizenship. I'm a Google for Education trainer and innovator, and I'm the recipient of the ISTE Digital Citizenship Network Award for 2020. I'm also the author of a few books now, and you'll notice on my cup it says addicted to Twitter. I have a little bit of a Twitter problem, I'm not going to lie, but Twitter has transformed my practice and my life, and I've met so many amazing people on there that I'm gonna stick to that. I'm addicted to Twitter and proud of it. All right, and let's begin as we do, and especially beginning this week of Truth and Reconciliation together with this beautiful poem by Monique Ora. To acknowledge this land on which we stand is to acknowledge truth. To acknowledge truth is to acknowledge connection and disconnection. To acknowledge connection and disconnection is to acknowledge the nations who care for our mother. To acknowledge our mother is to acknowledge truth. To acknowledge truth is to acknowledge that truth is at the forefront of the conversation. And these are courageous conversations that we need to have with our students, with our colleagues, with each other, for sure. So welcome, and thank you so much to Dell and ALP and OECM for bringing us this learning, which comes to you for free and sponsored by these lovely and wonderful people. A little bit more about ALP. And these are the values that I'd like to share with you. They value trust. So together we perpetuate trust. They value people. Together we cherish the value of people. Together we realize opportunity, and together we serve with gratitude. So I'm definitely grateful to them for having me here. And I'm grateful to Katina for being the representative from Dell, who may or may not have prizes for you later. Is that a yay?
I sure do.
Yay. Okay, perfect. So if you've never used Zoom before, please know that, especially since it's a small but mighty group, unmute your mic if you have a question, use the chat to share ideas with one another. You can be on video or not, it's up to you. I know video takes up a lot of bandwidth. My husband's on a meeting downstairs, so I may have to turn off my video. We'll see. And as you know, we are recording. You can chat down there to everyone or to a certain individual if you like. Always use respectful language. Of course, I don't think I need to tell you that. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about Flipgrid, what it is, and how it promotes inclusion and amplifying student voices. I'm going to showcase some ideas and some of the features, and we're going to have some time to go and play. Recently, Flipgrid sort of did a complete revamp. They have some incredible filters and effects, which really, it doesn't do justice for me to show it to you. So I want you to go and play with some of the features. So I really am hoping that we have time for that and that my tech works so that we can do that together. Okay. Just a show of hands, how many of you have been in Flipgrid in the past, I guess, 3 weeks? Is that Jen Giffen? Is that when the major changes happen? I feel like it's the beginning of September. Yeah. Okay. So you have been in Flipgrid?
Yeah, they came out, they sort of released slowly through mid to late August into early, like the first week or two of September.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And Jameson, you've had a chance to explore some of those things? Awesome. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
This audio you claim you have on me. Do you remember that night you came back to the crib?
Okay. So I'm just going to ask that you mute your mic if you are not speaking, and we're going to continue. And you're welcome to.
In exchange for your freedom.
Hi, Linda. I think I might need to ask you to mute.
Or not the only one.
Awesome. Okay. So let's begin with what it is at its most basic. And I don't even know that we need this slide, but it's a platform for sharing video and audio responses in a variety of different contexts. I have never been the kind of person who would sort of shares tools. Like, this is very unusual for me that I would say amplifying student voice using Flipgrid. But really it can be used in any context, in any subject. That's what I love about it, because it can be used in very pedagogically meaningful ways to have kids uncover your curriculum, to have them connect with one another. So I don't work for Flipgrid. I'm not a trainer, but I really do love the platform. And there are fun tools and effects that allow your students to record and upload videos within the platform, as well as their own videos. All right. So I don't know that we need this. Maybe we'll just do the beginning of it. Let me know if you can hear.
Want to get started with Flipgrid? It's simple, and we're here to support you. First, create a group. Just name it and add your students to it. Type in your domain name, that's everything after the @ symbol in your email, or connect your Google Classroom. Select Create Group, and step 1 is done. To make it even easier to get discussions started, there's a default introductions topic in every group. Topics are the prompts that learners respond to. Invite your students to participate by sharing your group. Simply select Share and copy the link. You can share the link anywhere, like email, Microsoft Teams, or Google Classroom. You can even share the group as a QR code for learners to scan. That's all it takes to get started on Flipgrid. Now, just wait for the discussions to take off.
All right, so we're going to
Want to get started with
move on
Flipgrid?
to that. All right, so when I realized Flipgrid was so powerful was actually, well, maybe before the pandemic. But one of the things I reflected on is the fact that when you have a group of kids in front of you and you're having a class discussion and you think everyone's totally engaged, but when you really look at it, it sometimes is the same students that are sharing their ideas over and over again. And that's great. But then what I came to realize is not all the kids were really as engaged, nor did they have a voice. And sometimes it's because they're shy. Sometimes it was because there was a barrier and they didn't actually learn what I thought they were learning. There could be a number of reasons, but that whole, raise your hand and participate does work for some kids, but it doesn't work for all. And that's what I really love about Flipgrid, because when I ask students to respond using Flipgrid, the couple of things happen. Number one, they can record and re-record their topics. And so I am now, or their ideas, they have time for reflection that sometimes they don't have in the immediacy of a classroom discussion. They also, let's face it, the quietest kids who maybe would never participate, you're now hearing from them. And I think that is really interesting. I teach at a school where we have uniforms. And one of the things I love is that in Flipgrid, when they're using their effects or, the stickers, it really reveals their personality to me. And I think that's really powerful as well. In terms of inclusivity and accessibility, every Flipgrid video includes the option to use immersive reader so that learners can hear and see the response. And this is helpful for students with hearing impairments, dyslexia, and a wide variety of different learning disabilities. New this year, so stop me with a question if you have it. I'm going to keep my eye on the chat. New this year, I don't know how many of you have seen this, but they're Flipgrid live events. So reading Sims Bishop, those of us that are teacher librarians would know this really well. She shares that books are mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors, offering views of worlds that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. And these windows can be sliding glass doors. So readers just have to walk through an imagination to become whatever part of the world has been created and recreated by the author. When the conditions are just right, a window can also be a mirror, so that literature, and I'm taking these words from her, literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us. And in that reflection, we can see our own lives and our own experiences as part of the larger human experience. So then reading becomes self-affirmation, and readers often seek their mirrors in books. And I love this so much. It is so powerful to me. And when I look at these Flipgrid Live events, I see stories from West African and African American culture. I see Hindu mythology. I see Mexican folklore. I see avenues into other cultures, Southeast Asian, as well as Rick Riordan. I mean, he's awesome, the Percy Jackson series, right? But bringing these stories into our classrooms, and these are some authors I've never even heard of. So I really appreciate the opportunity that these Flipgrid Live events are going to afford us. On your handout, the link should be interactive. Just click register here. Otherwise, you can Google Flipgrid Live events. And these are coming really soon, and they're happening at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to ask you, Jen, do you know if they will be then, I imagine that they archive them and will record them. Do you know anything about that?
They do.
Okay, perfect.
They do archive and they record.
Okay, we've lost them, but the assumption is that they do. And so even if it doesn't work with your schedule right now, I know many of us who have a language arts program, or even just as a break and to learn about different cultures. I mean, I think that would be really, really powerful. So do check those out. The other thing you need to know about, and as some of you may already know about this if you use Flipgrid quite a bit, and that is, and I've just screenshotted this for you, it is the discovery page. So when you go, I don't know if you noticed at the top of it, you go to the discovery tab and you have access to the variety of partners that Flipgrid has, and they're incredible partners, Scholastic and like Nassau and you name it. They also feature different collections. So you notice, I'm not sure if you noticed that it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And so they would have a connection there. I can take any one of these and add them to my own groups. I can create a new group, or I could save for later. And then I can use these topics in my own classrooms. And that's what I love about it. Like sometimes, I don't know about you, but hybrid, all of this stuff, it makes my brain hurt. And I'm not always as creative as I can be. But certainly with the Discovery Library, I search a topic, I check it out, and I can add it to my topic. And the people here are pretty generous. So you'll notice then, what does it mean to be immune? If I was in a science class, I just added it to my own library. So when I logged into my dashboard, I was able to see it there. And yes, it is such a great way to get new ideas. There is a video there, how to add discovery. But again, if you watch this, you'll be able to sort of see how literally easy it is. You click on something that's interesting to you, and then you add it. You either create a group. So groups are new this year. Groups are kind of like, I order my groups in terms of classes. So I was working with the science class, that's my group. The Global Ed Student Chat, that's my group. And then I add the topic, in this particular case, how vaccines work, to one of my classes. Okay, so they use groups now. So any questions? All right, or anything that you have found in Discovery Library that you think people must discover, quote unquote, please add it, because I think that would be awesome. Build on the expertise of one another. All right. One of the things that is near and dear to my heart is I want kids as often as possible to debate with one another, agree with one another, build on the ideas of one another, and respectfully disagree with one another. I feel like we need to be explicit about this if we expect that students are going to be able to take these skills elsewhere. And we know that so many students are online. And so for me, doing this as often as possible is really important. So I'm not sure if I pretty much show this every time. It's a conversation starter. It's not, it can be modified. I'm sure you have a great conversation starters as well. So it's agreeing. So I agree with the point you made. I think you're right about, I really liked it when you said, or building on something, or respectfully disagreeing. I could see why you would say that, but have you thought about, I respectfully disagree with the point. One of the things I'm realizing I didn't add here is, I have a different starters for constructive criticism, which is actually what you're about to see in the next little activity. So I am going to mail it out to you. I'm also going to tweet it at jcassa my constructive criticism starting point, because that's actually what we did when I co-planned, co-taught, and co-assessed with a science class. And we were doing a project on the Sustainable Development Goals, and the kids had to create an invention, a prototype that would address climate change, because we were looking at some of the Sustainable Development Goals specifically. And so this particular student created these solar panels. And what I did was, I remember I'm addicted to Twitter, so I leveraged my connections with Twitter, and the awesome, Linda, you know him, Dr. Harves, he was in Malaysia at the time, as well as my friend Sean Robinson in Vancouver, said, oh, sure, we'd be happy to give your students some constructive criticism. So we shared what the project was all about. The kids posted their prototypes in Flipgrid, sharing what they had so far and asking for input. And then the students from Malaysia, because of course the time zone thing, right? The kids in Malaysia were able to respond to them. And here's what one of the students had to say. Let's hope it works.
Hi, I'm Justin from Malaysia. So I really like the effort which you guys put into this project. Seems very cool. You guys made a good model in that application which you used. It also seems like a pretty original idea. I haven't thought about it before, the modular solar panels. So that's quite cool. But my thought would be, where would you get all the rare metals and materials to make these photovoltaic cells from? In just the overall modular solar panels, because like silicon, where would you get that from? That seems like quite rare to get and quite hard to get. So I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking maybe the modular aspect of it may actually make it more expensive and less expensive due to all the extra components required to make it modular. So I was just thinking about that. But overall, pretty cool idea. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. So these kids, after this feedback and the feedback from their own classmates and students from Vancouver, literally had to start from scratch because they hadn't thought about some of these things. And I thought that was so cool. We're always talking about failing forward. They got the perspective of another student from another place in the world. And that was really, really powerful on so many levels.
Hi, I'm Justin
and
from Malaysia.
Justin's there again. All right. And then I was able to ask for their feedback to see what they really liked about this project. And no one said, I loved Flipgrid, but that's the point. Flipgrid is a tool, but what they really loved or what they enjoyed is the freedom, because we used design thinking, the idea of building a prototype. But you may notice how many times they mentioned how much they enjoyed interacting with students outside of their classroom, including Malaysia and different countries. And this, my friends, is what we want. We want our students. I mean, we have the opportunity with a click of a button here to learn about the world with the world and to make connections to others. And so Flipgrid was a platform that allowed us to do that. All right. I also really feel like shared reading is one of the most powerful things that we can do for our kids with our kids. So I teach in, I thought, a fairly heterogeneous kind of school. That's not true. We're definitely more diverse than we've ever had been before. But this particular Flipgrid topic was, and this was in the old Flipgrid, it wasn't quite a group, but we read The Marrow Thieves, which if you have not read it, it is so good, so powerful, so heart-wrenching, beautifully written. And so I created topics for, it was through the Global Read Aloud, which is actually happening this year. So please, if you are a teacher librarian or you're working with English teachers, please do share that the Global Read Aloud is happening. But so I just created like very open-ended responses. So for week 1, it was your favorite quotation. For week 2, it was talk about characters and setting, and then final thoughts and sequel ideas. And we actually tagged the author, and that was really cool because she did respond to us. That was amazing. So for this particular activity, we reached out to different people, and it was great. I mean, we had people in Richmond Hill, and that's fine. But we also were able to connect with a class in Sweden. And it began with The Marrow Thieves. And of course, the context of The Marrow Thieves, if you've ever read it, is very Canadian, right? It's the impact of residential schools in Canada, really, and it's a sci-fi take on it. Well, our friends in Sweden had no concept of that whatsoever. So it was so cool to hear our kids share with them the context here in Canada. It became such a cool connection that later they sent us candy that you can only find in Sweden and postcards, and then we sent them candy, and it was just it started as a really powerful shared reading experience that just became a really cool cultural experience for us as well. And then I have to shout out to my friend, I think she's now Missy Hayes, Melissa Hayes. That girl, she just goes, I'm reading this book. I'm going to create a Flipgrid. It doesn't have to be the Global Read Aloud because it didn't work for her. But this is a book that she was doing with her kids. She threw it out on Twitter. Who wants to read aloud with us? And so it happens. So I think really, when you have the tool and you have the desire to connect your kids around a book and hear the perspective of others, you just do it. That's what she does. And I also want to share, I don't want you to watch that. Okay. So one of the things we did last year is, and I'm not sure if you've watched that TED Talk about, it's called The Danger of a Single Story. But for me, having kids learn about other people in the world and to develop empathy is really, really important. So last year, our student council headed up a initiative where we wanted to find out what culture the kids in our school had an affinity to or felt connected to. And then we created a Google Earth project based on all of these different places. The student council and I worked on it. And then we shared it out to our classes and we invited them to look through the Google Earth. And then so there were at least 49 different places in our project that were shared by our students. I had no idea, actually, and neither did some of the kids. And the feedback from that was so powerful. And honestly, all we did, the reason Flipgrid makes a good smash with it is because kids could then, if you sort of, the provocation was, what's a place you're either feel a connection to, or if you have a heterogeneous school, a place in the world you want to learn more about, and then come to, then film the best parts of it from the Google Earth project that they create. If you use Google for Education, if you use Microsoft, you won't be able to create a project, but you can still go into Google Earth and use Flipgrid, the screen record feature, in order to have all of these projects. And then you can ask kids to respond to one another with their wonderings, with things that they've learned. You could then have them research some of the authors that are from those places and then do a whole thing. My teacher librarian friends with that, which is what I plan to do with the work that we started last year. I feel like I'm talking and talking. Please just let me know if you want me to stop, if I'm going too fast, not fast enough. And there is a video there, so I'm going to stop it and hopefully get to the next one. Okay. I love this. My name is, and it is not. And I found this, I think I found this in the Discovery, maybe Jen, maybe you, I don't know where I find it. Maybe it was a Jen Giffen thing. So I'm going to open the link.
And I found it in Discovery and I shared it. I love this one. It's one of my favorites.
Okay. This one is my favorite because you got to listen to her. She's so awesome.
My name is Cecilia, but I go by Ceci. Ceci. My name is not Cece or Sassy. My name is Ceci. Ceci.
Right? I love everything about this. I love that she says it is, like, I love that it is not peace, right? Because we don't do that. And I love how much fun she had playing with this. So again, I go here, I go, wow, this is in the Discovery Library. I love it so much. I'm going to go add topic. I'm going to add it to my groups. And I'm going to actually add it to, oh, this is not my school one. I'm going to add it to the OECM Flipgrid and save it to the group, but I would definitely add it to my group. And then I could go see it in my topics. Okay. So now the question is, how do I get back to my presentation? All right. Can you see my presentation now? Were you able to see my Flipgrid? That's the question.
No, Jen, we stayed on your presentation.
You stayed on the presentation. Dang.
We couldn't see her.
I'm sorry, but you have the interactive link. You need to see her. Just promise me that you will look. Okay, thank you. This is one of my favorite people in Discovery, and people on Twitter too, is Miss Yaritza, and she does a talent share, and I think it's really, really cool. I think you can click on this and go directly there, and I heard her present on this, and what I really loved about what she said was that first of all, it was hard for her students to share their talents. But secondly, she said, when you do it close to the beginning of the year, you can build upon their talents as a class and really build self-esteem, build community, build culture, build connection. So I really loved that. What I love about this too, it's so in the moment, is during the pandemic, these are her conversations. So you can add the topic, but then edit it so that it's more your style. Okay. So what are your talents? And she said it was really tough for some of the kids to come up with this, but it was about what makes you unique and a unique member of this family. I am Noah Daniel. So Noah Daniel is awesome. And she has a podcast that involves a person coming up with a nostalgic song, an identity song, and a pick-me-up song, and then sharing why. And oh my gosh, when I had this podcast with her, I don't know how many of you have had this experience, I cried, like trying to find my identity song. Like it was just so powerful for me. So I tried it with grade 8s. I had a Kickstart class. And I tried it with grade 8s going into grade 9, and we used Flipgrid. And so what the students did was I didn't make them do all 3. I just thought it might be a bit much. I think we chose, what's your identity song and why? And they put it up on Flipgrid. They shared with one another, and then they had to respond to others. It was so cool to see the music genres they were interested in. It was so cool to see how aspects of their personality really did shine and come through. And then it was really cute. I mean, obviously we established norms and how do you respond to someone else? Like if you hate rap and they're talking, and their identity song is rap, or you hate country and their identity song is country, how are we responding? So we did all of that. But it was super, super, super powerful. So there is a link there. Please follow Noah Daniel on Twitter if you are on Twitter. And she has put it together in a doc. You can make a copy and use it. Please do give her credit though. And here is Yaritza again, and she did another thing, and I think you can look it up in the Discovery as well. It's design an album cover. Same thing, like our kids are so drawn to music, right? She had her students do this for how they were feeling about COVID. So design an album cover and what songs would you include there that exemplify how you felt a moment in time in COVID. But you can do this for anything. You could do it for Black History Month. You could do it for Pride Week, mental health awareness. What would your album cover be? And what would songs on that album be? And explaining it in Flipgrid. So cool. I think. Anyway, I get all geeky excited about these ideas. Ariel Adrian just shared, I loved this. And so what she did was she has like a birthday secret reader. It's so cool. So as a way to celebrate birthdays in her class, they invited a special family member, or you have to be mindful of some students who might not have a family that would contribute to this. It could be a coach or a teacher to record a video of a favorite picture book to play in class on the student's birthday. And then it was like, surprise, here's your secret birthday story. That I could see happening for younger kids for sure. Bronwyn Joyce from Australia has something called the Global Right. She puts prompts out every week, and one of the prompts you can respond via a Buncee board, but the other, there's always a Flipgrid response that you can use. And so you click on Flipgrid response and you would have your kids. She has all of it laid out. You don't have to go in order. You can go to her archives. But again, I'm all about connecting kids with the world. So to have, these global perspectives from someone in Australia and then other places in the world is pretty darn cool as far as I'm concerned. Matt Miller does amazing things. And I loved his idea about creating a top 10 video on Flipgrid. And this could be very connected to academics, right? Your top 10 elements and why, or right, your top 10, whatever. Or it could be a little bit more like trying to get your kids to connect with one another, your top 10 inspirational heroes, something like that. So you're welcome to take a look at that. I think it's hyperlinked. If you click on it, it should take you there. Finish the story. This is more like sort of tapping into the digital storytelling piece of it, but I love this idea of kids as writers and creators and empowering them to write stories. And so have students create stories without an ending, and then have kids respond with ending ideas. I don't know. I just think that's kind of cool. And then comment on each other. And the powerful thing about Flipgrid is that it allows for so much more interaction than you can even get in a face-to-face group setting. I'm not saying face-to-face isn't awesome, but going back to, it gives kids think time. It gives kids that thinking about their thinking, that metacognition piece that we sometimes don't have the opportunity for. There's Jen Giffen. Told you I shouted out to you in here. Making connections. I loved this idea that she shared during the Shake Up Learning session. And there's her handle. If you don't follow her on Twitter, please do. How about making connections to what you're learning with a caring adult at home? So asking students to interview a parent or guardian about a math concept and then show the videos in class. And the bonus of that is parents or guardians get to see the tools you're using in class. So I don't know, Jen, if you want to share anything more about how that worked for you, or
I'm actually typing right now that I'm going to give credit where it came from. So that was Jen Saranen and
okay.
Sean Fahey who told me about it. Like, they were tweeting about it, so I would pass it on to teachers. I've never done it. They did it in middle school math and social studies. I'll put their handles here because they're also big Flipgrid and student voice ambassadors, and they share great things. But Jen, I know she and I were at a conference together and she talked about this, and it was a game changer for some students to see their families in their space. It just made, she said it created such community. And it was a great way to reinforce from home or like at home how they're going to use the skill, but also for students to use their own voice to show the caring adult at home what tools they're using and to empower them to teach that adult something. It's really twofold. It's amazing.
That does sound amazing. I guess we're talking about culturally responsive teaching. I think you would have to really know your class too. If you know for a fact that there are some of your kids that don't have a caring adult at home, I would definitely either have an alternative or maybe what do you suggest in that case, Jen?
What I've heard, when I asked them that, I said, well, what happens if they don't have parents? And they came from areas where they did, but they said you could certainly, put your finger on the pulse and just even team them up with different adults in the building. Like say, hey, okay, let's ask your whatever teacher and go there. Like I know even last year, the leadership class, and I know Jen, you were a guest speaker in there for us. I had a few students who didn't have the ability to interview the caring adults at home. So we always had, I had people sort of on the ready on staff who were more than happy to jump in. And I would just say, rather than say, okay, if you don't have someone, be like, and if there's no one that's going to be available for you during the timeline, because I realize it's tight, so it gives them the out, right? I think that's what you said, to be culturally and responsive is very important.
Thank you so much. I totally love that. Like if no one is going to be available. Yes, I love that. Thank you. And then Jen and I actually facilitated a presentation on podcasting. And this came up in our presentation. And this was the idea of using Flipgrid. If you are not ready to podcast to the world, you could basically have your kids just use the audio feature, create a fun logo using effects and tools, or upload a brand. And then this could become your class podcast, and kids could take turns once a week posting a podcast. And so I thought that was a really fun idea because again, I'm a total fan of podcasting as a podcaster myself, and someone who has seen the power of student voice through podcasting in a class. So that is awesome. If you have any additional ideas, please do throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we are going to play a little bit. So the podcasting idea, I thought that was our idea, Jen. It wasn't. Okay. So let's shout out.
We shared it.
Okay.
But I learned about it originally from one of the very first March Madnesses that they did in Flipgrid. So every March they do like these brackets and they pick, different ideas on how to use Flipgrid against each other. And in the first year, Andrew Fenstermaker from Iowa threw that out there, and I was like, this is genius. He ended up being runner-up. And in the March Madness campaign, but it was awesome.
Amazing. So friends, this is not only a lesson in Flipgrid, but a lesson in crediting where credit is due. So I'm going to go back and add all of those to my PowerPoint. I don't know that at this point I can redo a PDF, but I could. I hope, please make sure that you are taking a look at those ideas there, or the people in there, and give them credit where credit is due. All right, so we are going to go into Flipgrid. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share so that we can share Flipgrid. You should be able to, I'll throw this here as in the chat and then share again. So those of you that are already power users, you probably may want to just explore other things. Lisa, I'm not sure if, just as kind of a novice, I want to make sure. So these are the ones that I had added. My name is and is not. So you're welcome to take a look at that. But here I'm wondering, I just put hello, I am. Can you see the hello, I am and the bear? Just need to know. And I've lost the chat. So maybe someone unmute your mic and tell me.
Yeah, Jen, we can see the bear, but when we click the link that you shared, it's saying student username, enter student username, or scan a QR code.
Okay, perfect. So the student username is OECM, capital OECM.
I'm in.
Awesome. I've totally lost the chat. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can find it again. Yay. Okay. OECM, capital. All right. Yay. So what you're going to do is add a response, and this might be crazy hot mess with technology. You're going to go to add a response. You can tell us how you pronounce your name. I'm going to enable my microphone, and it's saying it went wrong. Something went wrong. I think I have too many things open.
The one thing that I've noticed when I've tried to do Flipgrid while on Zoom, sometimes you can't have two videos going at the same time.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. I've had it happen in Teams and in Zoom. That
Okay.
it doesn't understand that your camera's being used in two places, and it has a little bit of a freak out.
Okay, so let's try not to let it freak out. What I did was I'm going to share this presentation again, because what I did was just go over, and this is probably more for Lisa, and any people watching who are just a bit novice with this and
Hi, I'm watching.
love it. Okay.
I signed on before. Honestly, if you want to just keep on going, don't worry about
No,
it.
no. I just want to show you sort of, because if you've never seen it before, you won't know where to go and what to do. So
Okay.
so I put this on here and you can join at any time, and obviously go explore if you don't need this. Okay. So the first thing you're going to see is the options, and it's got the little dots there, and that's going to allow you to upload a clip. It's going to allow you to have your mic only. It's going to allow you to mirror your video. And a lot of like math teacher, if you're showing something that needs to be flipped, it's going to allow you to record your screen, and it's going to, you're going to be able to access your device settings from there. Okay. The next thing you would look at is effects, and effects. There are filters, and they have added so many filters. It's amazing. You can add like funky text. There's a pen, so you could draw, you could sort of pause, draw something, keep going. I want you to play with this. There's a whiteboard, and you can you could drag the whiteboard. It could be the whole screen. It could be a quarter of a screen. It could be half a screen of your face, the other half of you with the whiteboard drawing on it. I've talked to math teachers about being able to use this in this way for that reason. They have fun stickers. They have GIFs. They have the ability to upload pictures and media, and you can have frames as well. So that's what you're going to find in the effects button. They've also really added some cool backdrop, depending on when you have been here last. I find backdrops are funny because your face feels like it's going to disappear a little bit, but some people love them. So there you go, play with the backdrops. And there are a series of how-to videos. So for example, your students are going to see it slightly different than the way you are. And so that there is a video there that I share with my students when they're just getting started, so they know what to do. And so what I'd like you to do now, we're just going to stop. I'm going to put some music on, and you are just going to get into that Flipgrid, record a response, play with as many features as you want, as you like. If you want to sort of look in the Discovery Library and part of your video is you're sharing what you discovered in this Discovery Library, that would be very meta and also very cool. So let's take about 10 minutes to do that. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good
Yes.
to me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm going to go back and and everyone's in that Flipgrid now, stuck at OECM Flipgrid. So Katina, how can I help you?
No, I'm no longer stuck. Now I just needed the OECM as the student name.
Oh,
All
okay,
good to go.
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. I think what's happening is the Flipgrid is opening up on my Safari. And I'm just thinking for you, Jameson and Jen, there was a really cool panel discussion called Building Inclusive Classrooms Through Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I'm not sure if you want to take a couple of minutes to look at that, or the Creativity in the Classroom and Beyond one. It's up to you. I just want you to be able to use your time. Yeah.
I actually, Jen was about to jump on and say I need to jump out because I need to put a couple little giffers to bed.
Good night, giffers.
They're supposed to be having showers, but it sounds like they're having water fights. So I'm just gonna go deal with that.
All right.
But
Thank you for being here.
Good to see you. It was great.
Nice to see you. Thank you for participating and giving us the where credit is due.
I'm glad I was
Thank
here for
you.
that. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
Yeah. Bye. So Lisa, just unmute your microphone if you have any questions or if you're stuck or anything.
Perfect. I'm just playing around. I think my hair is blowing in the wind on one of these things. It's hysterical.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, I've got some funky backdrops happening. There's too many decisions, to be honest with you.
That is
finding
true.
Yeah.
You might have to really reel your kids in. One effect, one frame. Don't go crazy.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna mute and make a little, and then I'm going to record something.
Awesome. Katina, should I pause? I'm going to pause the recording. The recording for a second. Okay. Are you okay if during the recording I show your video, or would you rather that
Go
I show
for it.
Katina's?
No, go for it.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to show, hopefully you'll be able to hear it. There's my desktop. Okay. And you can see Lisa's bear spotting adventure.
I actually saw a bear this past summer. I was hiking up north on a really small lake, about 3 hours north of Toronto, and I saw a bear cub hiking up the tree or scaling the tree. And I knew the mama bear was pretty close by, so I got out of there pretty quickly.
Awesome. All right. Were you able to hear that and see that?
Me? Yes, I was.
Okay, awesome. So
I
now,
need hair and makeup, I've just decided.
oh, no, we don't care. You think, and I think that is really significant, right? Because some of my kids did not want to be on video because they didn't look perfect. And so I think that's something like, yeah, you can use the filters, but we need to be our natural selves. And so modeling that as a teacher, like it doesn't have to be perfect, is so important, like in the big scheme of things too, right? But I just want to show you now when my students are going to respond. So just say this was an activity, people had to introduce themselves to one another, and now they're going to respond. They can add a public text comment, or they can also respond via video. I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. But I could then say, hi, Lisa, that is so cool, right? It's loading. It's not going to work. It's, oh, there. Okay. I'm going to put a frame around me. That is so cool that you saw a bear. I love that. Thank you so much for submitting a video. All right. And then you go next and you can actually edit it, because did you notice how awful that was? A frame around me. Because I did not want to have the frame around me. So I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to pull that to where I say hi. That's so cool that you saw. That is so cool that you saw. So I'm going to confirm it. I can add music. That is so cool that you saw a bear. Okay. And then I'm going to go next. I'm not going to add music. I can just confirm it's fine. And then it will upload. And then you're going to notice my video response will appear under yours. Okay. So thank you. Nice job. All right. So I'm going to go back to my OECM. And Katina responded in my name is and is not. So this was the prompt. And again, I could have edited this in any way I wanted. Like it was originally hers. I could have gone like this, edit topic, and I could have changed this a little bit, right? I could have change the video and put a new video there, right? I loved these, so I'm going to keep them. So I would just update the topic if I made a video, if I made some sort of change to it. Okay. So Katina, let's.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katina. That is Katina. My name is not Katrina. A lot of times people call me Katrina because Katina is an unfamiliar name. There's no R. My name is Katina. Thank you.
And I love that background. I promise to never call you Katrina. And I'm just going to make a public comment and press send. So again, you would go through some of the norms with your kids about responding. But it really is that easy. It looks like you win a $20 Uber Eats card, which is fabulous. And do you have if you have any questions at any point about this, please reach out to myself. You got a couple of other people too. You've got Jen Giffen, who's a trainer. Looks like Jen at SNEJ is a trainer as well. And I just thank you so much for coming and spending time with me and with us, rather, when I know that life is so busy. Those of you that are watching the recording, please reach out at any time at jcassa.todd, and I'm happy to support you as well. So happy learning and happy amplifying student voice on Flipgrid.
Thank you so much. I love listening to you. I could listen to you for 3 more hours.
Oh, you're so kind.
It's very sweet that I won something. So exciting. I've signed up for a lot more. Yeah.
Pardon?
I've signed up for many more. So thanks for doing this.
Amazing. I know it's such an incredible lineup. I was so sad today. Pamela presented and I just got the tail end of it and I knew it was so good. So I'll have to wait for the recording. The recordings will come up eventually in the same place where you registered.
All right. I really appreciate all your time tonight. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.